This is Frances Lee, the creator of Ami Moon and the Galactic Peacekeepers, and this is the True North Country Comic Podcast.
Welcome to the True North Country Comics Podcast, dedicated to celebrate Canadian comic book and graphic novel creators and supporters. I'm John Swinimer. On this episode, I chat with Frances Lee about her middle grade graphic novel, Ami Moon and the Galactic Peacekeepers, published by Levine Querido. Please like and subscribe to this website by hitting the subscribe button so be notified about new podcast interviews and article posts. This podcast is available wherever podcasts are enjoyed. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Frances Lee is a Canadian-Korean artist who loves to write and draw stories mostly at night. As a retired tattoo artist, she often finds herself pondering about the cosmos and wishing for the ability to teleport. Ami Moon and the Galactic Peacekeepers is Frances's debut middle-grade graphic novel. Called a vibrant, quirky, out-of-this-world journey by Kirkus, Ami Moon and the Galactic Peacekeepers is the first book in an irrepressible and breathtaking graphic novel trilogy about a lost human girl, her fellow crew of peacekeeper aliens, and their missions all across the galaxy, all while Ami tries to get back to Earth and the mom and dog she left behind. So without further ado, here's my chat with Frances Lee about her middle grade graphic novel, Ami Moon and the Galactic Peacekeepers, published by Levine Querido. So Frances Lee, thank you very much for taking time to chat with me.
Oh no, I'm really excited. I'm really happy to be here.
Well, I appreciate your time. Before we get going with all the questions, I would like to know, what was the first comic book that you read?
Oh, that I read. Actually, I think the first comic book that I saw, I was too young to know what anything was, and it was on a turnstile. I don't know where I was. I don't remember specifics, but it was those like Archie comics, and I didn't know how to read, and I was just like mesmerized. But my mom wouldn't buy it for me. And I remember that moment because I was so devastated and putting it back, and I was in tears because I just wanted it. Not because I knew how to read, but I just wanted to look at the pictures. And that's usually how I read, because I was actually like illiterate for quite a while until I was about maybe in grade 3 or 4, borderline 5. And then after that, I would just sneak into my brother's room because he had gotten comics for his birthday one year. And I was like, oh my God, it's like those Archie comics I had seen. But he wouldn't let me see them. He said they were for boys. And so I would sneak into his room and like carefully take them out of the plastic and look at, I thought the drawings on those covers were so tacky, but I loved them. And I would just sneak in and quickly peek and then put them back before he came home from school or with his friends or anything like that, exactly the way he had placed them. So he never knew that I always snuck into his room when he wasn't home. And then I know, and then fast forward, I'm in my early 20s. It's like a huge jump. And I was dating this Irish boy for a while, and he said, I think you would like comics. And no one's ever spoken the word comics to me. I didn't really know what comics referred to. And he took me to this underground, like in this basement, alarm bells are going off as a girl. I'm like, don't go in this basement. But it was just like, it smelled like cardboard and like mold, but it was just stacks and stacks and rows of these like just comics. They weren't ordered or anything, or maybe they were, but we went there and I was just like sifting through all these like plastic sleeves with cardboard backing. And I'm like, what is this place? The guy I was dating, Ross, if you hear this, thank you. He came over and he gave me Watchmen.
Oh, wow.
I know. And I was like, what is this? Why is it so big? Because all the other ones were like, 24 pages or so. And he's like, I think you would like this. And I was like, okay. So I bought it and I took it home and I had to work the next day. So I didn't open it until the very next night. And I remember looking at the cover and I'm like, this is so tacky. Like, what is this? The colors are so garish. And I opened the first page and I think it changed my life. Like, I read it all the way through. I was so annoyed that I had to like put it down if I had to go and help someone with something or go to work. But I was just absorbed into the story. And from then on, like, I closed the book at the end and I was like, what is this? Like, what have I just read? I didn't know you could put pictures and words on a page like that. And you could use these sorts of colors and action sequences and panels. And like, it was so immersive. And from then on, I was like, one day I am going to make a comic. I want to draw it. I want to write it, but this is what I want to do one day. But I'm not ready right now.
That's pretty cool. That's definitely a great influence. And a lot of people reference Watch as one of the bigger ones for sure. Is there anyone today that inspires you to create?
Honestly, I've been seeing so many, I think my son's drawings, they're so wacky and strange. And there's no rhyme or rhythm. I really like when kids just draw and then he's telling me a story verbally that makes absolutely no sense, but it makes perfect sense. I think I love that. I wouldn't say any particular book I've read at the moment. I think because I'm so immersed in mine at the moment, I'm trying to stay away from reading too much of other people's work right now. But my son's work, I think seeing him just kind of freestyle is pretty awesome.
Absolutely. That's a great inspiration for sure. We're here talking about your new middle grade graphic novel, Ami Moon and the Galactic Peacekeepers. So can you tell me a little bit about the story? What is it all about?
Well, it's about a girl who's lost in the Andromeda galaxy, and the only way to get back is that she joins the Galactic Peacekeepers, where she bands with her teammates Rosa and Sumo and their little AI system, who they call Mom. They go on little galactic missions together and experience different societies, all while she's trying to find her own galaxy back.
Was there any specific inspiration for this graphic novel, or perhaps it was your son's influence?
No, actually, that moment when I was like, one day I'm going to make a comic book, this story has changed from a fairy tale to a gothic tale to, I guess, now a sci fi over like the span of almost 20 years. And it kind of came during COVID, it solidified because I had time to stop because I've been in the world of tattooing for 15 years. And slowly I sort of just pieced the story together over time. But COVID hit and it forced me to close my studio down for a couple years. And at that time, I was listening to a lot of Star Talk, and I decided that I was going to watch Star Trek from Next Generation, specifically from beginning to end, because that was another little childhood thing that I never got to really fully experience. It hit me then that I was like, I think this is the best way to go, is this story suits this sort of genre. And that's kind of how it all kind of came to be.
I've read the description for the book says it's aimed at middle grade readers. Is that the main audience for your graphic novel?
My publisher has set out as middle grade reader, and we kind of discussed that, like, if someone younger than that with their parents wanted to read it, that would be great too. I've had other parents come up to me recently telling me that they've read it with their 6-year-old, 6, 7, 8, and their kids just ask so many questions and they're having a great time with it, which is really nice. I guess the adult that likes a bit of sci-fi but is in for like just a nice chill ride is good too. So I think it's nice for both parents and kids to come together. A lot of it is a bit more like the stories inside are a little more open-ended questions, and it kind of gets the reader asking. I think a lot of the kids are asking a lot of questions. Maybe some of the questions might be a little harder for parents to answer, but I think it's engaging, you know?
Sure. Now, I'd like to switch gears a wee bit and talk about your creative process. Can you
Yeah.
talk about the tools used to create your graphic novel?
For This one, I am using a program called Procreate. I use this one specifically because I can take it on the go. Because I'm always chasing my son around and he's going to extracurriculars and that kind of stuff, I kind of have to jump around to different locations. So this one is a very seamless flow for me where I can write things down or I can draw things right on my iPad. And the color selection is just, I'm all about colors. So it gives me a whole range of palettes that is very accessible and textures. And it's just, it speeds things along as well. Even though it does take quite a while to finish a page, I can see how, like, if I wanted to get the same effect on paper, it would take probably double or triple the time.
I have heard from creators that it can save time. And as you said, it's very portable. So no matter where you are, you can immediately get to work and get on the job, so to speak.
And it's easier for my editor to check in real quick. I can send him a file. He can take a look at it and be like, okay, we're on the right path. So I think, and because my publisher's in the States as well, it's not like I can just pop into their office or anything and show them my papers. So this is like it flows a lot better.
Now, you mentioned that you were a tattoo artist. Did any of that experience come into play with the creation of your graphic novel?
Yeah, I think skill-wise for drawing, it had a huge impact. I mean, tattoos is all about making things aesthetic, problem solving a client's wants and needs. It really helped tackling a page without thinking too much about, I guess, boxes and lines, drawing within a box or staying within the lines, which I think you can see in my book. Some of the pages are like borderless. I think that's all due to tattooing because I have to fit a design for the body. It's very different than just designing for a rectangular page. And so that really gave me a different perspective on how to tackle comics. Not to say that I'm reinventing the wheel, nothing like that. It was just for me personally, I think it felt like it gave me permission to look at it in a different way. But skill-wise, just knowing what colors go together, tones of paper, like if I were to tone my entire page, what colors would accent that really well. Tattooing, I think, was part of my journey to come to this point, and I acknowledge it, and I'm very thankful that I had gone that route first to get to this point.
Okay. We've been talking about Emmy Moon and the Galactic Peacekeepers. Is it too early to ask what your next project is that you're working on?
It's actually the second book of the trilogy. So I'll be locked in for book 2 and book 3. I'm not sure if I can say, I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen in my book, but so far, I think the working title at the moment is Emmy Moon and the Lost Hero. I'm very excited for that one. I'm already drafting back and forth with my editor. I know it's a bit of crunch time because I got to get the finals done, but I'm super stoked because I feel like I'm like, okay, I did the first one. I've learned so much just finishing that one. I can't wait to get to the second one and start going at the finals because I feel like I've grown from the first one to the second one, which I hope doesn't make people think, oh, she's getting a little cocky there. But it's more like I'm just so excited because I feel like I'm seeing an improvement in storytelling and also in my drawings. Even if it's just subtly to me, I can see the improvement. That's kind of how the tattoo world works, is like try to beat your last tattoo, try to get to the next higher level every tattoo that you do. And I kind of taking that attitude towards comics in that way is like try to beat your last comic. In what ways, what part can you improve in flow and structure and storytelling, whatever aspect, maybe just the lettering. But yeah, I'm very excited for that book too.
Hopefully you have some free time. And if you do you have any events planned this year to promote your book?
Yes, I got into TCAF. I just got the news, which I'm super stoked for because I've only attended a few times in my early 20s, but going back as like an exhibitor, as an author, I guess cartoonist is the right word. is pretty surreal. I'm a little nervous because I'm going to be in a room full of like very seasoned cartoonists, and I'm just kind of like, hi, I'm here too. But I'm very excited to meet other people there and other artists, writers. Yeah. So TCAF is my next one. So far, I think that's the one I've planned for the beginning of summer. And then I'm kind of just going with the flow as things come through.
Great. Well, with everything you have on the go today and in the future, where do you recommend that people go online to find out more about you?
I have an Instagram. My handle is LeeTropolis. I'm mostly on there for social platforms, and I have my website, which is leetropolis.com. I'm not a big website updater, so I apologize if you go there and are like, wait, something feels a little dated here. But mostly on Instagram. Yeah.
Great. Well, Frances, those are all the questions I have for you, but I'm wondering, is there something I didn't ask that you'd like to get across in this interview?
If you're interested in my book, just know that I structured it in a way, especially for young kids or just kids in general, who have a hard time sitting for long periods of time reading a book. They can read it from back to front to back. You can start in the middle and piece the stories together that way. It's for the kid that has tons of questions, asks even why. I had a mom tell me that her son was asking why some of the characters, their sizes change. And I was like, the sizes change? It was an interesting question that I had to go back and look at my book and be like, oh, well, this and this happens when you're drawing. And it's just for the very inquisitive kid who will stare at one page, ask a question, close the book, and continue their day and come back to it. You can read it one shot if you like, but I did structure it in a way that you can read it from back to front or start in the middle and kind of piece the story together that way.
Thanks to Frances for the chat. You can discover more about Frances Lee online at leetropolis.com and on Instagram at leetropolis. And thank you for tuning in to the True North Country Comics podcast. I invite you to visit the True North Country Comics website to listen to even more conversations with creators about making comic books and graphic novels. I also encourage you to subscribe via the website so you'll be notified about new podcast interviews and article posts. This podcast is available wherever podcasts are enjoyed. Please like, follow, and subscribe. You can follow along True North Country Comics on most social media platforms. And you're encouraged to send any and all feedback to John at TrueNorthCountryComics.com. Thanks for tuning in, and come back soon for another episode. Bye for now. True North Country Comics Podcast is copyright True North Country Comics, copyright 2026.